Boruto has received quite a bit of backlash from Naruto fans over the course of its run so far, especially in regards to its new main character. But I feel like a lot of the criticism it receives isn't quite accurate and doesn't really explain why people don't like it as much as its predecessor. To get to the heart of what the real problem with Boruto is, we need to take a more fundamental look at what makes Naruto, as well as Shonen Jump titles in general, so appealing. I've already talked at length about a similar topic in my video comparing shonen protagonists and harem protagonists, which you can check out in the description below, and I'd like to expand on an idea that I only briefly touched on in that video. In general, most good Shonen Jump protagonists are extremely goal-oriented and have something that they want to achieve. Naruto wants to be Hokage, Gon wants to find his dad, Luffy wants to be king of the pirates, Midoriya wants to help people and become a great hero like All Might, Asta wants to become the Wizard King, and so on. This isn't always true, as Shonen Jump is known for breaking the molds that they themselves create, but in a Jump series that is fairly straightforward, goal-oriented protagonists are the go-to for a strong start. And you can see what happens to a series that doesn't follow this model, along with a myriad of other faults that it has, by looking at the sharp decline of Bleach over the years. Take a look at this series and ask yourself, what exactly does Ichigo want? What are his goals, his dreams and aspirations, his passions in life? Even after reading over 400 chapters of manga, which is still just a little more than halfway through the series, it's still kind of difficult for me to answer these questions, which makes him so much less memorable than Pirate King and Ninja President. Again, having a goal in mind isn't required, but it's an easy and effective way for us to connect with the character. Now let's take a look at Boruto. He's the son of the Hokage who saved the world from total destruction, but in contrast to his father, he actually starts off pretty good at being a ninja, possibly the best in his class. Mix in the mild arrogance and moral compass of typical Jump protagonists, and it's easy to understand who Boruto is. But what does Boruto want to do? To be honest, it's not that clear. You could argue that he wants Naruto to be a better dad to him and his sister, but he's not really doing anything to try and achieve that goal. He just complains about it all the time. Not to say that Boruto being a spoiled prodigy is a bad thing though. I actually really liked his portrayal in the Boruto movie where he's trying to get his dad to pay more attention to him, so he ends up cheating his way to the top. Unfortunately, almost none of this is present in the TV series. It's mostly just Boruto fucking around with his friends and getting into crazy ninja hijinks. Again, this isn't necessarily a bad idea in concept. Had this been the start of a brand new franchise, I think it might have actually fared a bit better than it is now. But this isn't a new franchise. It's a sequel to one of the biggest anime franchises of all time, one that's been airing for over a decade and a half. After that much time, people know what to expect from a series, and when those expectations aren't met or aren't even subverted in an interesting way, they won't like what they see. You can even see this phenomenon happen practically every few years or so with the Doctor Who franchise. 15 years of Naruto has trained our brains to expect a single-minded, goal-oriented protagonist. So when we get a protagonist that isn't as compelling as the one before, it's just not as interesting. Ironically, there are actually a ton of other characters in the series that fulfill this goal-oriented trope. Denki wants to become a better ninja to impress his father, Iwabe doesn't want to flunk out again, Metal Lee wants to get over his social anxiety, and so on. But by far the best example of this is found in Sarada during the latest arc of the anime, where she searches for answers about her father, Sasuke, and the story of her own birth. Of course, this arc is adapting the last piece of Naruto that Kishimoto wrote for the series, which is why it feels so much more familiar than all the other content around it. In truth, what happened with Boruto is strikingly similar to what happened with Pokemon Sun and Moon, a massive tone shift completely changing the outlook of the show's main character. But we'll get more into Pokemon stuff in my next video. I want to stress again that Boruto is not a bad character. At this point, he's perfectly serviceable as a shonen action protagonist. But as a follow-up to Naruto, he's really not starting off on the right foot. The reason I place such heavy focus on the lack of a goal-centric protagonist is because having one is the easiest way for a character to have a legitimate struggle for success. We are now over 5 months into Boruto's airtime, and there's only been one attempt at creating a seriously challenging situation for Boruto. And even then, it really wasn't as intense as it thought it was. Compare that to the Zabuza fight in early Naruto, and you can see why people might be disappointed. I want to be hopeful that Boruto will become more interesting, but I just don't see it happening. And there's one scene in particular that makes me think this way even more. In the second half of episode 18, Naruto takes Boruto out to Ichiraku Ramen for dinner, and while he's there, he runs into a bunch of old faces he hasn't seen in a while and gets a chance to reminisce on his early years as a ninja. Even if you're not interested in seeing Boruto, I highly recommend checking out this episode, as it's easily the best in the series so far and works great as a standalone Naruto OVA. You can feel so strongly how much history is being relived in this scene, and the closeness and intimacy of such an accomplished ninja sitting down with his son and trying to connect with him is extremely gratifying. Yet at the same time, it makes me realize that we're probably never going to have these kinds of moments with Boruto. There's just not enough going on with him to make him as strong a character as his father, no matter how much that flash forward in episode 1 is trying to convince you. And that is the real problem with Boruto. Thanks for watching, everyone. I kinda made this video half as a response to really weird and inaccurate comments I've seen getting thrown around about Boruto, and half as me trying to sort out my own conflicting emotions about this show. Honestly, I might not even be watching it anymore by the time this video goes live, since I only really stayed on for the Scarlet Spring adaptation. In any case, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more, be sure to like and subscribe so you can stay up to date on all my latest content. Share this video around with people you think might be interested. Leave a comment below about what you thought and other topics you'd like me to cover in the future. Check out my written content over at Digital Fox Media, and don't forget to follow me on Facebook and Twitter. My name is Ember, and I'll see you next time.